So welcome back. This is day 10 of the 21-day abundance challenge to raise your vibration. And today we are going to be talking about forgiveness and embracing your imperfections. So yes, I'm here to tell you you're not perfect. None of us are perfect, right? And it's really important for us to embrace those things about ourselves that we want to change or that we don't like about ourselves. And we all have them, but it's important for us to take the time to really understand where does that come from, right? And maybe somebody said something to you, or maybe somebody made you feel a certain way about yourself. And it's important for you to acknowledge that you don't have to accept that as your reality, and you can change the way you view yourself, and you can forgive yourself and forgive other people. So today's lesson, it might be a little bit more challenging or a little bit more difficult, right? Because forgiveness is twofold. And what I want you to really focus on today more than anything is forgiving yourself. If there's something you feel that you're stuck on, or something that bothers you from your past, or something you did or didn't do, something you said or didn't say, really take the time to think about that. Is there something when I bring this up that you're holding on to that you feel you can't forgive yourself for, or that you need to forgive yourself for? And you can go ahead and write that down. Take a minute to think about this. Did is there something that's replaying from your past that you look back and you think, I really wish that I would have done that differently, or I wish I would have said something, at that time, or I wish I wouldn't have said this, or I wish I wouldn't have done that. And I want you to think about, what was the lesson that you learned because of going through that, because of, I didn't say something and I wish I would have. You learned a lesson from that. That's why it bothers you. So if you didn't say something and you wish you would have, now, if you could go back, what would you do? What would you say? How would you change that? How would you fix that? How would you heal that? And what you can take from it is knowing now, if that situation was to come up or something similar to that, how would you respond to it? What would you do differently now? So just identifying that within yourself, and seeing how you have grown because of that experience, that's a very powerful way for you to know that you've learned what you needed to learn. And forgiving yourself because you needed to go through that experience in order for you to be able to change and see things differently and to improve. I mean, that's what we're here for, is to learn from our own experiences and these lessons that we're learning daily through other people and through experiences. So the other aspect of this is forgiving somebody else. And now, when I say that, when we are saying to ourselves that we're going to forgive ourselves, that we need to forgive ourselves, right, for whatever it is, or for, I'm sorry, forgiving other people for something, that can be really hard and that can be triggering. So I'm not here to try to trigger you or to upset you in any way, because forgiveness is very personal. It's a very personal experience, and it's not something that everybody can do. And you can't force forgiveness until you feel like you're ready for it, until you feel like you're at a place where you're able to say, okay, I can let this go, because there's two things to this. I can let this situation go. I can forgive this because the person wasn't capable of doing the right thing. Or not only that, I can forgive, or I am willing to release this because I want peace. I want peace. So forgiveness is all about you. The forgiveness is not about forgiving somebody's bad behavior and letting that go and not having them held accountable. Because I will tell you that they're always held accountable for their decisions and their actions. Everything I ever see on the other side is all about accountability. And if we don't have accountability here, believe me, that's going to happen. So we're not responsible for holding anybody else accountable, or for their karma, or for them learning their lessons. We're here to learn our own lessons. That's what we're doing. We're not responsible for other people. We can't change them. We can't get them to learn their lessons. Um, all we can do is control ourselves and how we respond to a situation. And forgiveness, if it's for ourselves, forgiving ourselves, that helps us to be able to move into a space of more joy and more happiness. Because if we're holding on to that, it's a negative, it's a lower vibration, it's a heavy vibration if we don't forgive ourselves. And when we're able to say, okay, I didn't know how to do better at that time, but I know how to do better now, and I will do better now, and I will make better choices, and I learned my lesson, that raises your vibration. You're automatically in a space of having learned the lesson and you can move forward. And then you can help other people and do the things that you want to do, because you are not going to repeat that pattern or that lesson. So if there is somebody that you feel like you can't forgive, right? I'm sure that there's a really good reason for it, and it's okay. So give yourself permission to not be in a space to be able to forgive them at this point. But look at it from the perspective of whatever it was, whatever they did, and believe me, I have gone through this, as a lot of you know, I have a lot of abuse in my past, and I've had to do a lot of healing work to be able to get to a point where I forgive, right? And it's not about letting somebody off the hook. Believe me, I stood up for myself. I said what I had to say. I wrote my book about it. I talk about it in my classes, in my coaching, and readings and stuff that I do. So this is a personal experience to forgive, but when you're forgiving somebody else, you're not saying to them what you did, I forgive you for that. You do not have to tell the person that at all. You're saying energetically, and even you can verbalize this to yourself, right? Is saying, I am willing to let go of what you did because I am not going to hold a space for you to hurt me anymore. I choose peace. I choose to release this anger, this hurt that I am carrying because of what you did. Because that person, if they did something that was really hurtful, painful, whether they acknowledge it, whether they know it, whether they did it on purpose, okay, that is their lesson. That's their karma. They're going to have to be accountable for that at some point, and believe me, they will. You are not, again, you're not saying this to this person, but you are acknowledging and recognizing that that person is coming from a very pained place to do something to hurt another person, and that they're either repeating a pattern in their family or in their lives, and hurt people. But it's also that being able to recognize they are not able to give you what you need. They can't give that to you because they don't have the capacity to give it to you. So whether this was a parent or a significant other, or somebody that you work with, or whatever the situation is, someone from your past who hurt you or betrayed you, being able to say, I am not going to give you my peace. I'm not going to give you my power anymore. I take that back. And I know my value and my worth, right? And I am able to release this. I'm releasing you from holding a space in my life. And I choose peace. I choose happiness. I choose to release that, and I choose to let you go. And you can ask the angel of karma to step forward to help with this situation. I've been using the angel of karma quite a bit. It's pretty powerful. When you say to the angel of karma, please take care of this situation in this person, I no longer want to hold on to this pain, and I am willing to forgive for my own well-being, for my own peace, for my own happiness, to be able to move forward so that I can manifest in my life the things that I really want. So that helps to shift the vibration and the energy, and only if you're ready for it. You don't have to. This is just about you getting in that space of thinking about this may be something you're ready for. And if you're not, what is it that you need to be able to release, to let go of that situation? And again, handing it over to your angels and your guides for them to help you. And there may be things that come along your path in the next few days or weeks or months that will help you to start to shift into that energy of being able to let go. So a lot of people don't have the capacity, right? There was somebody who really hurt me from in my family, And I had to do a lot of inner work to be able to release that situation, right? I stood up for myself. I had to call them out. When I did that, that was very freeing for me, but you don't have to do that. A lot of times it's better if you don't. Um, and you don't need the other person for forgiveness. You don't need their approval. You don't need their understanding because they're not able to give it to you a lot of times. They're not going to. A lot of if somebody's hurt you, most of the time it's because they're incapable of acknowledging your feelings and they really don't care about you. So if you say something, it's not going to make a difference. The healing needs to come from within you. The healing needs to be where I acknowledge you don't have the capacity to understand, right? And that they're taking or they're not in a space of being able to understand that what they did was even hurtful sometimes. So if that's the case, you again are taking back your power and you're saying, you no longer have control over me. I am not going to allow a space for you to be hurting me because if you're holding anger, you're hurting yourself. You're not hurting the other person, you're hurting you. And when you're able to say, I'm not going to carry this anger, I'm going to release this anger because it no longer serves me. And I want happiness and I want peace and I want to really, truly be in a place where I can let this go so that I can move forward and have the life that I want to have. That's going to open up space within you. That's going to bring in more light and that frees you. So think about today in what aspects or areas you need to forgive yourself or again, forgive somebody else. And then also embrace your imperfections, right? All of these things that we go through in our lives are here to help teach us things about ourselves. And for us to be able to see ourselves, we have power within us to create and manifest the things that we want to bring in. And when we acknowledge that and when we say, okay, I don't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. And we're never going to be perfect. We're never going to, no matter how much we do, no matter whatever that is, there is no perfection. The beauty is in our imperfections. That is our superpower because we're always learning things about ourselves. We're always embracing these things that we are working on improving. And however that shows up in your life, whatever that is, really take a look at yourself and think about what are the things about myself that I don't like, right? What are the qualities about me that I don't like? And look at how you can change your view of those things. And is there something that you do need to readjust, right? And be able to say, okay, I'm working on this, or I'm taking accountability for this about myself that I don't like. And I am going to embrace that part of me that I view or see maybe as a weakness, or I see it like maybe being an empath, right? Maybe you're overgiving and you're overdoing and you're always like sacrificing your needs for other people. You may look at that as, a positive when in fact it's like you're hurting yourself doing that. So you may have to say, okay, you know what, I recognize this about myself and I have to set a boundary or I have to set a limit with other people and I need to start thinking about myself. Or maybe you have been neglecting somebody in your life where you actually need to say, okay, I need to spend more time with this person or I need to do more things here. Those are all of the ways that we allow ourselves to show up, right? And allow ourselves to acknowledge where we do need to shift and we do need to embrace that part of ourselves because that's how we're going to learn. When we recognize, oh, you know what, I've been doing this and I don't like it, or it doesn't feel good, or I'm beating myself up about something and I really need to release it and forgive myself and say that it's okay so that it doesn't hold this negative space, right? Because if you're thinking about something as I'm talking about this and it has a heavy or a lower energy and it's like, oh, it doesn't feel good, that's how you know you need to work on it. Okay. So take a little bit of time today. and say, okay, can I forgive this? Can I release this? Can I forgive myself? What can I do to shift this energy today? All right, please let me know in the comments how this is working for you. Let me know any epiphanies or any ideas or things that you want to talk about or share with me. I would love to hear your feedback and how this is helping you. I love you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.